Okay, good morning and welcome back. All right, so we're going to do another exercise today, and the next one on the syllabus, which will be example 2.4. And then the exercise we did Monday and the exercise we're going to do today are both due next Monday if you need some more time for those. And again, those are going to be posted to the discussion forum. It looks like a lot of you are already turned in the one from Monday. Yeah, so most of you already did that one. So you got the idea of how to turn those in. All right, so let's, this is the one we're going to do today, example 2.4. Okay, so if you go to the example 2.4 section on Blackboard, you'll see that we have the Word document with the steps and maybe some practice problems. The quantity discounts Excel file with the template we're going to use, and then some solved practice questions. Okay, so you can open up example 2.4, the Word document. Okay, and then you can open up the quantity discounts Excel file. We're going to need that too. Okay, so get those open and let me read the little description and we'll start doing this one. So this is example 2.4, chapter 2 in your textbook. Okay, so this is ordering with quantity discounts at Sam's Bookstore. So Sam's Bookstore, with many locations across the U.S., places orders for all of the latest books, and then distributes them to individual bookstores. Sam needs a model to help order the appropriate number of any title. So Sam plans to order a popular book, which is a hardback novel, which sells for $30. They can purchase any number of books from the publisher, like from the wholesaler, but the price per book depends on how many books Sam orders. Okay, so for example, if he orders 1,000 or less, then it's $24 per book. If he orders more than 1,000, it is $23 per book, and so on. So there's a discount if you order more, right? So that's usually how it works. If you buy a bigger quantity from the wholesaler or from the warehouse, then the per unit cost is a little bit less because you're buying more. Okay, so Sam is uncertain about demand. We're going to estimate that. It could be anything from 500 books demanded to 4,500, so there's a big range. And then if they don't sell all the hardback novels, at least the old model was to sell the more expensive paper hardcover first to the people that had the highest demand, so they pay the higher price for the nicer hardback book. And then after some time goes by, the paperback comes out, it's cheaper. And so at that point, you got to sell the hardback at the paperback price. So if you don't sell all the books right away at the market price, then you can discount it, which is the same price as the paperback price. Okay, so if we don't sell them all at $30, then we're going to discount them at $10. Okay. All right. So our goal here is how many copies of the hardback novel should Sam order for the publisher. So we're trying to maximize revenue or maximize profit, and we're trying to do that by deciding how many books to order. Okay, so here's the Excel file we're about to do. So you have the inputs. So this is we sell the book at $30 starting, and then the discounted price is 10. We're going to start with 2,500 for demand and work with that. Sorry, we're going to start with a 2,500 order quantity for books, and we'll start with demand at 2,000. And then these over here, this is the discount structure saying that if you order less than 1,000 books, it's $24 per book. If you order 1,000 books or more, it's $23 and so on. So the more books you order, the cheaper the per unit cost is. Okay, so we'll use this information to set up a little business model and maximize profit. All right, and then we'll do some changes. Okay, so if you refer to the Word document for example 2.4, okay, so there's some optional videos you can look at later on. So we're going to use some features that you might not have used before. The sum product feature, the VLOOKUP feature, and then we're going to do some range names. All right, so I'll explain these concepts and we'll do them together. But there's a couple nice videos that explain those little formulas and concepts in more detail if you want to look at those after class or whenever. Okay, so let's go ahead and start our analysis here. So step one, when we do these kinds of models, we're going to just kind of set up the spreadsheet first. And so we did the inputs last time for the Mondays example. We did those light blue. And now we have a few more things we need to note for this problem. So first, let's make inputs light blue. All right, so we can go back to the spreadsheet. Okay, so the inputs we have are the prices of the books, the 30 and the 10 here. Okay, you can highlight those values light blue for inputs. And then also the quantity discount structure with all the prices, those are inputs as well, so you can highlight this area light blue. Okay, so those are our input ranges. And so we have a few more things we need to note before we start solving this model. Back to the Word document here. Okay, so often we're going to have a decision variable cell, and we're going to highlight that cell if there is one light red. And that cell is what we're trying to change in order to maximize or minimize our problem. So for example, let's go back to the spreadsheet. Okay. All right, well, it says right there decision variable. It's not always going to say that, but the reason why this is the decision variable is because we're trying to decide how many books to order, all right, in order to maximize profit. So we're deciding, or Excel's deciding how many books to order. So therefore, that's the decision variable cell, right? How many books to order. So you can highlight cell B9, light red and that'll be our decision variable color. Okay, and we're also typically going to have an objective, and that's the thing we're trying to maximize or minimize as a business or as a problem. So if you go back to the model, right, so the goal here is to maximize profit. So profit is going to be calculated right here. When we get to it in cell, so is this B19? So B19 is going to be the cell we're trying to, in this case, maximize. So that's our objective. All right, get this number as high as we can. So B19 is the objective. So highlight that, highlight yellow color for our objective. Okay, and then one more thing, in this case we have we have an uncertain quantity, which is demand, and so we're going to color the uncertain cells if we have any light green. Okay, so we're not often going to have an uncertain cell, but we do here. So let's highlight that demand cell light green to note that that's the uncertain variable. All right, so the uncertain quantity demand, let's highlight that. The B12, that's light green for uncertain cell. Okay, so the colors kind of tell the story of what you're trying to do. These are our inputs. We're trying to maximize this by changing this, and this variable is uncertain, right? All right, so just a minute, my Excel is refreshing here. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'd recommend saving your Excel file throughout because if something goes wrong, it just closes, then you might lose things. So try to save it routinely. All right, so we've done step one. Let's move on to step two. And so step two is going to be to make some range names. We haven't done this before, but it's something that's very useful. And you'll see the advantage of doing this once we do it and then we start solving. So step two is to make range names, and so we're going to create range names. For the ranges shown in figure 2.22. You can't see that, but I'll explain. I'll walk us through the range names. Yeah, so what the range names do is it gives a name to the range that you specify, and therefore when you want to refer back to that range in like a formula or a reference, you can just type in the range name instead of having to memorize the location of the range. Okay, so we're going to set up a bunch of range names, and you'll see how that works, and we'll use those later. So let's go back to the Excel file. Okay, so there's a couple ways to make a range name. We'll start with usually we make a range name for the inputs and the decision variable and the objective, and then maybe a few more. But let's start with the inputs. So you want to highlight the input and the name you want it to be. So if you go and if you highlight A5 to B6 like this, okay, so highlight A5 to B6, and then depending on what version of Excel you're using, you need to get to formulas. And so here, I'm going to click on the formulas tab. And you should see an option right here that says create from selection. All right, you can click on that button. And usually the default is what you want, so it should say left column, and that's going to mean that this cell is going to be called regular price, and this cell is going to be called leftover price. So it knows, usually Excel knows what you want to try to do. So leave it as left column checked and hit OK. All right, and if that worked, under the formulas tab, you might see this little option for name manager. If you click on that, it'll show you what you just did. Okay, so you can see that cell B6 is now called regular leftover price, and cell B5 is now called regular price. All right, so you gave a name to these ranges. And you can make a range name for a bigger range, but in this case, it's just for one specific cell. All right, so we have a bunch more range names to do, but I want to make sure that worked. Were we able to get the range names? Did this work? Or?
I'm sorry, what did you go to get to that? I was at names. I was at regular price and leftover.
Okay,
Or yeah,
so you did that.
I selected it and then I went to formulas. I didn't know which one you click on.
Okay, right. So all right, we'll start here. So you got this selected, A5 to B6, and then
Yeah.
formulas tab, and then do you see create from selection?
Oh yes.
Okay, click on that, and then it should default to left column. And if it does that, just hit OK.
Okay.
And then I was just checking. You can confirm what you just did by clicking on under formulas tab. There's probably a big button that says name manager. If you click on that.
Yes. All right, I got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Professor,
Yeah.
I don't know why I've used Excel so many times before, and this is the first time when I click formulas, it doesn't give me any formulas. It literally just calculate workbook and calculation option. I don't I don't know why it doesn't show like any other formulas. Could it be because I'm using a Chromebook? I am on the new Excel.
Well, no, I think you're just in the wrong place because it's so up here. You see like home, insert, draw, formulas, stuff like that.
Yeah, I literally don't have any of those for under formula. Like it literally just has two buttons for me.
Are you using?
Did you try expanding it? I'm sorry. I
Oh,
I know I couldn't see mine either unless I expanded my Excel. That's
how
where I got stuck.
Like
how do I do it?
just maximize your page.
My pages.
So is it full maximize like this?
Like the page is the page is maximized.
Okay. And so like okay, so if you click on the home tab, do you see all this stuff up here?
Let's see.
'Cause I think what
I,
it's
I
saying, yeah.
Yeah, I have some of that stuff, but like I genuinely just think it's my Chromebook. This is limiting like half of the ability to do anything. So I was having the same problem last assignment, but I couldn't.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think that would be the case unless it's a really, really old. I mean, are you using are you using this? What kind of Excel are you using? Not the online version, right?
No, I'm using the one that was provided to us by school from the
Okay.
university.
Yeah. Perfect. It's. I just think you should have those features, and so um, I want to see
I
if you're
can
just
like really quickly and just show you what it says.
okay.
Or not. Okay, okay. I'll be quick. I'm just I'll send my video. Now let me turn it around. Can you see my screen?
Um, let me see.
My camera.
Let me see. Okay, so let me click on yours. Okay, so I see formulas. Yeah, I don't. I think you're not even. All right, click on the home tab, and then click on formulas.
That's literally all. I don't
Okay,
know why.
there's got to be like, is there like a? Can you drag? Can you grab the bottom right? Like, can you open it to display more options? Is there like
Uh,
a?
there's only a button that says calculate workbook, but there's nothing that says like more options. Like this just says manual, automatic except for tables.
Oh.
I don't know. I think it like because I don't know. I think it has to be my Chromebook because you're using Windows, right?
Yeah, I'm using Windows. Aren't you? But aren't you using Windows on Chromebook?
Yeah, or I'm using Google. Well, yeah, I'm using like Google Chrome and all that.
Oh, so okay, so you're on Google Chrome. Okay.
I think I just have to move to my computer. I think that's the problem. Because on Sheets, I don't have this problem, but I think it's just the Chromebooks. I think that's all it is.
Yeah, it might be because you're using it off of you're not using the desktop version. But
Yeah, I don't know.
well,
Oh,
here,
there's a
what?
function button, but oh, yeah, there's a function button, but like I have this, but I don't think that's enough. I'm honestly I'm just gonna move to my computer right now.
Okay, all right. That's probably gonna. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. So you can move forward. You don't have to wait for me. I'm just gonna move.
Okay, I can help you catch up a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's minimize this.
Professor, I'm not finding the thing we need to click on.
Okay, so let's see. Um, all right, so you don't see? Do you see the formulas tab?
Yes, I'm on the formulas tab right now.
And you don't see create from selection?
Um, no, I don't at all. And my thing's expanded and everything. My setup looks a little older than yours though.
Okay. Do you see name manager? Do you see any of these?
No, so all I see is it says like insert, auto sum, formula builder, reference, show, switch reference, and then it goes into like audit formulas.
Okay, so it looks like yeah, might have the same problem. Well, there's another way to. I mean, you can also just name the range manually, and let me see if this. Here's a workaround. It just takes a little bit longer. um, so just click on. Try doing this. So we're on the home tab. So click on cell. Um, B5.
Okay.
All right, and up here, do you see a name box?
Yeah.
Okay, so just type in the name, and it's like this, regular underscore price. So just type in that, regular underscore price, and hit enter, and that's the name we did with the shortcut, but that's the same way. And if you hit enter, and you go back to it, you should see that it's now regular price. Do you see that name there?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want me to do that for both of them?
Yeah, so go to this one, B6, and just up here in the name box, just type in leftover underscore price and enter, and that should do it manually.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So you can do it like that. It's just a little more cumbersome, but
Okay.
okay. So any other problems with the range names? Okay, so we have a few more range names to make. We're going to make a range name for order quantity. Okay, so it's pretty much the same step. If you're doing it like this, you can select A9 and B9 like that, and then same process, formulas tab, create from selection, and then left column is what you want. So hit OK. Okay, and if you're doing it manually, all you have to do is click on B9, and then up here in the name box, just type in the name you want. And it doesn't have to be the same exact name, but you have to refer to it when we're doing the formulas. So you see how if you click on B9, you can just name it up here in the name box. Okay, you can do that. Let's make a range name for demand. Okay, so select A12 to B12, and then same thing. Formulas tab, create from selection, left column, OK. Okay, or you can name it manually by just clicking on B12 and naming it up here. Now this range is a bigger range. It's not just one cell. So we want to make a range name for this whole area, the whole blue box over here. So select D5 to E9, right, this whole range. And this one we all have to manually name. So just go up, just select the range, B5 to E9, and then up here in the name box, let's call this cost lookup. All right, so select that range, and then up there in the name box, just call it cost lookup, and hit enter. All right, and then you should see that when you reselect that range, it's got a name of cost lookup up there in the name box. So this whole range is called cost lookup.
I moved to my computer and it still says it just doesn't give me the options for formulas still. It just still says calculate workbook calculation options. And I noticed that um it said like simplified ribbon or something in the top right,
Yeah.
and then I changed it and it shows more on the home, but it still shows like nothing for the formula. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, if you're using the one through the school, it should have all the features. And I don't know if you're just using the. Can you get is Excel on your desktop or are you using it off of like Google, like off of the internet?
I'm using it off the internet.
Yeah, so it might be you might get more features if you download it to your desktop.
How would I do that? Would I just it says install? Oh, okay. It
Yeah,
says
it might take a little bit of time. I don't know if you can do it right this second, but just
yeah, fine. I'll do what I can, and I'll catch up. Point.
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So maybe before next time, you can try to download it to your desktop, and I can show you how to do that. But for now, you can just
I'll just watch.
I just showed, I think it was Linda, that you can do it manually as well. And so even if you don't have that feature, it just takes longer to do it this way, but you can do it by like click on B5, and then you up here you see a little name box option.
Uh,
Yeah, so just go up, just select that name box and type in the name you want. In this case, it's regular underscore price. And so you can do it manually, it just takes a little bit longer.
okay, let's see. Let's see if it does that. Okay. It says at this time you cannot create new named ranges in the web version of Excel. So yeah, I just have to download it and
Yeah, so
then
you're using the online version, which doesn't have all the features, so that's the problem.
okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I'll download it and go
Yeah.
from there.
Okay.
Thank
All right. So we got. Did we get the range name for this? The cost lookup? Yeah. All right. So we have a few more range names to make. There's a bunch in this one. So all the ones under the profit model section, we can do those all at once. And so if you want to select that area, all right. If you want to select A15 to B19, all like that, then we can make a range name for those 5 things at once, just by doing the same way. Just go. So you select A15 to B19, and then Formulas tab, create from selection, and then left column will give a name to all these ranges. So hit OK. All right, and then we want to name one more thing down here when we get to it, which is probability. All right, so you can select, if you scroll down, you should see the probability with the probabilities of the expected demands. And if you want to select A27 all the way to J27, so select A27 to J27, and we'll make a range name for that just by formulas. Create from selection, and left column is going to give this range the name probability. Okay, so hit OK. And if you wanted to do this one manually, you could just select this area, B27 to J27. Okay, and then up here in the name box, you can name it probability. Okay, so you can do all these manually by just putting the name in the name box, but it's a little bit quicker to use the shortcut with the formulas. All right, so under formulas tab, let's reopen this name manager option like this. Okay, and let's all confirm that we have all these range names because we'll need them to do the rest of the problem. So you should see, if you did all these, that you have a range name for all these things here. So you should have a range name for cost lookup, for demand, for leftover price, for order quantity, for probability, for profit, for regular price, for revenue, and for units sold at leftover price and units sold at regular price. So if you did all those steps and made the range names, you should see that you have those ranges defined in the little name manager box. Okay, so do we all see that? And I can do any of the range names again if we miss some.
What did we label profit model again? That whole section.
What was the question?
What did we label the whole section of profit model again?
Okay. So we did those. We just selected them all together because they were in a group, but they each have their individual names. So, for example, this is units sold at regular price. See, this is units sold at leftover price. This is revenue. This is cost, and this is profit. So I selected them all together, so it would name these ranges kind of as a shortcut. But this has a name, this has that name, this has not that name, and so on. So if you were doing it manually, you have to call this one unit sold at regular price. You'd have to call this one unit sold at leftover price, and so on. So each of these ranges have the name over here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Okay, so any more questions on the range names? We're good on these here? All right.
Wait, which one was revenue?
So the good thing is it tells you up in the name box. So revenue is B17. Right, that's this one right here. So that was part of this group. So revenue is just B17. Right, and see how if you did it correctly in the name box, it shows you where it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so range names, it takes a little time to get them set up, but once we start solving the model, you'll see the advantage of having the range names. Okay, so let's close this. All right, so step 3 is let's calculate the revenues in cells B15, B16, and B17. So we're going to use these formulas you have in your Word document. Okay, so in cell B15, all right, type in the first formula you see in step 3, which is equals. Okay, so you want the minimum function. And then in the parentheses, order, so you'll have the range names ready. So equals min, and then in the parentheses, okay, order quantity. So you see how your range name pops up, and you can just double click it to get that name. Okay, and then comma demand for your demand range name. All right, so see how when you start typing in the name, it should show what you want, and just double click it. Okay, so this is equals min, order quantity, comma demand, and so that means that whatever of the two, whichever of these two is lower is minimum. Put that number. So in this case, this is 2,500 and this is 2,000. So it should be 2,000 because what we're saying is we can't sell more than what demand is. So if demand is less than order quantity, we can only sell demand. Or if order quantity is less than demand, we can only sell what we ordered. So in this case, it should be 2,000 because we ordered too many books, but we can only sell 2,000. Okay, and the next formula in step 3 is this. Okay, equals if. You want that if function. So if order quantity, the range name is bigger than demand. All right, so if in B16, here's your formula equals if function, and then in the parentheses, order quantity greater than demand, comma, order quantity minus demand, and then comma 0. All right, so you should get 500, and let me explain what this formula does. Okay, so it's an if function, so it says if this, then put the value, otherwise put 0. So it says if order quantity is bigger than demand, which it is, okay? So if this is bigger than this, we ordered too many, okay? So that's confirmed. So if that's the case, give us the difference, order quantity minus demand, because basically we have 500 leftover books, all right? And so we're going to have 500 books left over because we ordered too many. And then otherwise, if we didn't order enough or we ordered just the right amount, give us a 0. So what this function says is if this, do this, otherwise give us a 0. Okay, so you should see that the reason why it's 500 is because this is order quantity, this is demand. We ordered 500 extra books. All right, so that's what we're going to have to sell at leftover price because demand wasn't high enough. All right, and then for revenue, it looks like a big formula, but it's just the range names are kind of big. So in B17, the formula is equals. Equals units sold at regular price. Okay, so that's the range name. Times regular price. Plus units sold at leftover price times leftover price. Okay, so it's just units sold at regular price times regular price plus units sold at leftover price times leftover price. So you should have those range names set up. And so our revenue is a combination of what we sell at the original price and then what we sell at the leftover price. Okay, so 30 times 2,000 plus 10 times 500 is our total revenue, all right, which is 65 something, 65,000. Okay, so did we get those? Units sold at regular price, units sold at leftover price, and revenue. So those formulas were step 3, all right? We good on those? Okay, so if you're doing it and you get like a different value or like an error or something, you can try to let me know and I'll try to fix the problem. All right, so try to confirm that you're getting the same values. Okay, step 4 is to get the ordering cost.
Sorry, Professor.
Yeah.
For revenue, I'm getting 60,510. I tried to redo my formula, but it's still coming out to 60,510.
Okay, so there might just so what is let's see. That has to be okay. When you click on it, does it show that does it highlight these numbers? So is this 2,000 and this is this 500? So I guess that would depend. Is this what are these two?
2,500.
Oh, okay, so those are right, and then well, this one has to be so if it's 30 times 2,000 plus 10 times 500. All right, see how it's doing that?
Yeah.
Then it has to be right. If you're doing the formula right, if it's this times this plus this times this, then it's got to come out to 6,500, 65,000.
Okay, let me try it one
Okay,
more
so when
time.
you click on B17, do you see the same?
Yeah, it's showing that my formula is correct, but let me just try to do it one more time. Oh, I see what I did. I did plus leftover price instead of times.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I got it now.
All right.
Thank you.
No, so you guys, okay. You're welcome. All right. So step 4, total ordering cost in cell B18. Okay, we're going to use this function called VLOOKUP. So in B18, the formula is equal. Okay, so you should see that VLOOKUP function. All right, click on that. That's what we're going to use. So equals VLOOKUP. And then in the parentheses, order quantity, comma, cost lookup. All right, so this is your formula, equals VLOOKUP function. And then in the parentheses, order quantity, comma, cost lookup, comma 2, parentheses, then times order quantity. All right, and so this VLOOKUP function is pretty useful. And let me explain, if I can, what it does here. So it looks up a range and reports the value that you tell it to. So it says equals VLOOKUP. So go to order quantity, which is 2,500, and then go to the cost lookup range, okay, which is the name we defined up here, this range. All right, and then find 2,500, or find the range of 2,500, okay, which is in between, which is going to be 2,000 because we're not at 3,000 yet, and then report the value in column 2, which is the unit cost. So it's going to, what it does is it finds 2,500, finds out where that is in the cost, and then gives us the cost, which is column 2. Okay? And then it's going to take 2225 and multiply that by the order quantity, right? So we specified the cost lookup table, and what this does is it gives us the appropriate cost based on exactly how many books we order. Okay? So it should give us 2,500 times 2225, which is 55,625. Okay, and then if we got that, we need to calculate profit, which is just revenue minus cost. Okay, so in cell B19 equals Okay, so revenue is just, profit is just revenue minus cost, which is 65,000 minus 55,625, those two ranges. And so the leftover, the remaining profit is 9,375. All right. Okay, so everybody, are we good on this part here? Did we get the cost and the profit? Yeah? Okay, so we have a few more things to do here. We're going to make some data tables. We haven't done this before, and then we're going to do some stuff with expected profit, and then we'll make a little chart. Okay, so we're on step 6. So again, make sure you save it as you go along, just in case something happens, if it crashes or whatever. Okay, so we're going to make a data table, and I'll show you how to do that. But this is a pretty useful feature of Excel. And okay, so we're going to create a data table with, just like it says here, data table of profit as a function of order quantity and demand. So we're going to see what the profit is if order quantity and demand are different values. And so it'll have a big kind of matrix showing what profit will be if order quantity is this and demand is this. Okay. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is expand the range. And so see that little thing that says add rows as necessary? We need to do that. So you can just delete this little note. All right, go to A23 and just hit delete button. All right, get rid of that. Okay. And so we need to add some rows, and let me see how many rows we need to add. So to add rows, what you want to do is kind of click on the rows over here, like click on the number, and just use the mouse to drag down, and we'll specify how many rows we want to add. So we want to add let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I want to move this down to row 33. So that means that we want to add well, let's just I can't. All right, so just if you click on the 22 over here, and let's go all the way to 32, like that. So see how I'm selecting these rows, and I'm just going to add more rows. So use the mouse or use your selection to kind of click on the whole row like this. So see I'm selecting 22 to 32. All right, and then just on the Home tab, if you hit the Insert button up here, it should insert like 10 or 11 rows. All right, see how it did that? Okay, did that work? Do we see what I'm doing?
Yes, it worked.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Professor, quick question.
Yeah.
Office, put it on my computer. I'm just catching up. for step 2 where it says range for range names, am I just naming all of the like regular price, leftover price after itself?
Yeah, so you're just giving it the name adjacent to it. So like if see how so this one is going to be called regular price for that name.
Uh-huh.
This one will be called leftover price, right? And this one will be called order quantity. So it's just this name is for that cell, and then this whole range is called cost lookup.
Oh, okay. Okay, sounds good. I'll try to catch up.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey Jake, when I try and add the rows, when I highlight it and then hit insert, it
Yeah.
just pops up it doesn't insert the rows.
Oh, so you don't want, so you want to hit the insert button. So let me do it again here. If I go back. All right, so I selected 22 to 32 like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then under Home tab, do you see Insert button up here?
Usually under Home tab and then
Yeah, so there should be a button that says Insert. See where my mouse is?
oh, okay, I got
Yeah,
you.
click on that. So for the insert cells, and then it should insert cells. So Enter's not going to work, but Insert will. Like that, yeah?
Whoa, hold on, it just disappeared. Oh, okay, I got you.
It should
All
come
right,
to, yeah, did it work?
yeah, it worked. Thank you, man.
Okay.
Do you mind showing me your name manager thing real quick, Professor? I just want to get
Yeah,
just
sure, no problem.
oh. Oh. Okay. I'm just gonna screenshot this. You're good now.
Okay, you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, so what we're doing now is, okay, we're making a data table. So we moved those, we made some space, right? And then first thing we want to do is make a reference to profit. So right here in cell A22, just type in equals. Okay, equals profit. So see how it's going to just loop in the profit. So in A22, the formula is just equals profit. Okay, and then we're going to list some possible order quantities and demands next to this number. All right, so let's go down first. Let's do order quantity. So starting at A23, type in 500. Okay, and then in A24, type in 1,000. All right, and you can keep doing this manually in increments of 500, or there's a shortcut. Excel usually recognizes what you're trying to do. So we're trying to count up by 500, right? So if you type in 500 and 1,000, Excel is going to recognize the pattern you want. And go ahead and select A23 and A24 like this. All right, and then Excel is going to recognize what you want to do. So if you grab the bottom right corner and just start dragging down, you can drag down until it counts up to 4,500. So just do this. Grab that. Oops. There you go. Okay. So Excel should recognize the pattern and count up for you in increments of 500. And so you can do that to hit 500 to 4,500 in this range here. Okay, so in A23 to A31, you should have 500 to 4,500 in increments of 500. Okay, I mean, you can also do it manually, but it's easier to use the shortcut.
So when I do it your way, it just makes them all 500 when I grab the bottom right.
Well, okay, so let's try it. I think let me go back. All right, so make sure this is 500 and this is 1,000. Okay,
Yeah.
and then make sure you select them both like this. Okay, not just the first one. So if you select them both A23 and A24 and then grab this, it should work.
My bad.
It work?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. No, that's how you learn. Okay, so we're going to do the same. So these are our possible order quantities, and we're going to put our possible demands along the top. So see how it says order quantity alongside, demand along top? Okay, so in B22, okay, we want the same thing. So we want to go 500 to 4,500 along this way. So start here. B22 is 500. C22 is 1,000. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to count across. So if you put 500 there and 1,000 there, and select them both, see how I selected B22 and C22, and grab the bottom right corner and drag it across, and count across up to 4,500 like this. Okay. Oops. So we should have, so here's the profit, which is 9,375. And then here are the profit, the possible order quantities, 500 to 4,500. And then here are the possible demands, 500 to 4,500. And then we're gonna do a table that tells us what profit is if this is this and this is this and all these options. Okay, so make sure we got it set up like this. Okay, so if you got this, all right, what you want to do is select the whole region or the whole range starting with A22. And so you can use the mouse or the keyboard to select this range. All right, and then leave it selected. So I've selected A22 to J31. So you want to select that whole range, all right? So first, just select A22 to J31. We got this whole range selected. And then you should have a data tab up here on the top. Click on that, and you should see a little option called what if analysis. Click on that, and then click on the option for data table. Okay, so data, what if analysis, and then data table.
Professor, how many rows did you add beneath 21?
I think 11, but it doesn't matter as long as you have space. So we're gonna delete or add some more rows again, but just as long as you made enough space to do this, right? Then it
Okay.
doesn't. Yeah. So I think I added 11.
Okay.
Okay. And so we'll see if this works. So if we got this little data table option box, right? You want to specify the row input cell, and then you want to specify the column input cell. So the row input cell is demand. Okay. Well, let's type in the actual. All right. The row input cell is B12. All right. So just if you click on this, and then select B12 like that, and then click it again. So it should say $B, $12. And then if the column input cell is order quantity. So if you select this little column input cell and hit the button, and order quantity is B9 and select that, or you can just type them in, but it should say row input cell, $B, $12, and column input cell, $B, $9, or it could just be B12 or B9. Okay, so if row input cell is B12 and column input cell is B9, hit the OK button, and hopefully that's going to do the table for you, and you should see how you get different values for profit. All right, so for example, like if demand is 1,500 and order quantity is 2,000, then profit would be 5,500. Okay, so did that data table work?
You might do that one more time, please.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so first let's select the range. Okay, so we got what do we got selected? A22 to J31. All right, so first do that, and then data tab, what if analysis, and then data table. So we get here first, right? And then you're going to specify what you're changing here and what you're changing here. So what you're changing here is the row, and what you're changing here is the column. All right, so the row is corresponds to demand, and demand is B12. So you can just type it in here, B12, and the column is order quantity, so that's B9. Okay, so row input cell is B12, column input cell is B9. All right, and you can see what those are referring to. All right, and then if you put those in, you hit OK. And it should do the data table like that. And sometimes there's problems with, like, does anyone have the problem where all these numbers are the same? And so if that's the case, like I've seen problems where it doesn't change the values. All you can select the range like that and do formulas. And there should be a button that says calculate now. Click on that, and if you had the issue of it not updating, try formulas then calculate now, and hopefully that works. Okay, so did we get the table? Did this work? Okay.
Yes.
All right, great. Okay, so next step. Okay, so we'll come back to this data table, but what this data table tells you, actually let's make so the profit should be like currency looking. All right, so these should be in currencies. So you can format the values just to look like currency if you want. And so if you want to select, okay, let's do a few things here. Okay, so if you want to select B23 to J31, all those profits, and under Home tab, you should see this Format drop-down menu. And under that, you should see Format Cells. Okay, and if you want to change the option to currency, and let's have no decimals with the $ symbol. So currency 0 decimals $. Okay. All right. So it should make it so it's easier to see those numbers as like a profit reference.
Can you do that one more time, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So you got this range selected to B23 to J31. All right. So Home tab, Format menu, Format cells. All right. And then you get to this Format cells box, and you just want to change the category to currency, and I did it with 0 decimals, and hit OK. All right, and then another thing we can do is we can note the options which give us a negative profit or a loss, basically. So we can see that if like order quantity is this and demand is this, we're going to take a loss. All right, so if you want to select that range again, I'm going to turn it up. Joseph, I'm gonna turn off your volume.
Sure. Sorry.
Okay, there we go. But if you have questions, go ahead and turn it back on.
Fine.
Okay. So let's reference or highlight all the possible combinations that give us a loss. All right, so we can see what we don't want to do. So if you select that range again, which is B23 to J31, and this is a nice feature. Under Home tab, do you see this conditional formatting option? Hit that. And then you want to choose Highlight Cells Rules. And you want to choose Less Than. And let's put 0 here. So anything less than 0, we want to see that highlighted. Okay, and then hit OK. All right, so what that should have done is highlights all the possible options that give us a loss. So for example, if order quantity is, or demand is 500, and we order 1,000, we're taking a loss. If demand is 1,000 and we order 2,000, we're taking a loss. So these are all this whole group over here is what we don't want to be in. And then any other situation based on order quantity and demand would give us a profit. Okay. All right, so a few more steps. Step 7. Okay, so let's calculate the expected profit based on the probabilities that we have. So back here, all right. So I want to put this, see where it says model of expected demands. That needs to start in A33. So depending on how many rows you added, I'm going to delete 3 rows. All right, so see how I'm selecting 32, 33, and 34. And instead of adding rows this time, I want to delete them. All right, so I have those rows selected, and then under Home tab, hit the delete button. And that should put, see how this starts in A23. I mean, sorry, A33. All right, did that work? Did we get to, so we're kind of doing the opposite. You can choose the rows and add, insert, or you can choose the rows and delete. And so if you're following along, you should have this title starting in A33.
We could also just drag it up, right?
What do you mean drag it up?
Like highlight model of expected demands and all of that data and just drag it up with the mouse.
Yeah, I guess you could, well, you can copy and paste it. Sure. Yeah, you can do that too. Well, the problem with that is, I know we made a range name for this, and so just make sure that if you did that, sorry, what, this range name not, yeah. So see how initially we made a range name for probability. So double check if you move things around that this range, B35 to J35 is still probability. See? So when you select this range, B35 to J35, make sure up in the name box it has a name for probability. Yeah.
Okay, I just fixed that right now too. Thank you.
Okay, sure. But yeah. So there's many ways to get to the same goal. So yeah, you can copy and paste. You can delete rows. You can there's different ways to get to the same area. All right. What do we do? Okay, so right down here where it says order quantity and expected profit, we're going to set up another data table based on the probabilities. Okay, so in A38, let's list our order quantities again. So here we go, 500. Actually, maybe we can just let's do a copy paste and save some time. So if you want to select 500 to 4500 up here. If you want to select A23 to A31 and just copy and paste it right there. Okay, so select this range, A23 to A31, then copy, which is Control C. And then go right here and paste it if you want. In A38, Control V is paste. Okay, and then under order quantity, you have the same options, which are 500 to 4500 in increments of 500. Or you can just type it in. But this range needs to say 500 to 4500 in A38 to A46. Okay. All right. Can't get this. There we go. Okay, so if we got that in B38, let's type in this formula in B38 equals. Yeah, the sum product feature. So equals sum product. All right, see how it gets the sum product formula, and then in the parentheses, B23 B23 to J23. And then comma, probability. So that it'll give us that range for probability that we specified. Okay, so equals sum product, and then in the parentheses, B23 to J23, and then comma probability. So what's going to happen here is it's a sum product, which means it's like this times this plus this times this. And so given the demands, okay, these are the probabilities that the demand would occur. So for example, there's 2.5% chance the demand is 500. There's a 5% chance it's 1,000. And so this will give us the expected profit, or the profit based on the expected demands, or the probability of demands. Okay, so it should take this range and sum product it with this range. Okay, and if that worked, we can take we can apply this formula down the column. So if this is equal sum product B23 to J23, comma probability, just grab the bottom right corner and drag it down like this all the way to B46. All right, so these should be all the expected profits if the order quantity is this, based on the probability of that demand occurring.
Will it keep the same J23 range without the absolutes? Or B23?
Oh, so what? Well, what you want it to, you don't want it to keep the same range. You want it to go down. So see how
Oh, we're
like,
only highlighting the first row. I gotcha.
yeah. So see how the next one should do the 1,000 range, right? So this is going to stay locked for the range name, and each one like, see how that's a good question because you can see what we're doing. So these are probabilities, and this is the 500 range. Okay, that syncs up with this 500, and the next one, if you go down, see how it gives you the outcome for 1,000. So you want it to go down to get all these different options, but you want the probabilities to stay the same. So we're trying to say, if we order this, what's our expected profit based on the probability of these demands occurring? All right, so when you go down, you should see that this one is for the 4,500 range.
Does it need to be consistent with it being horizontal or vertical? The two arrays that we insert?
I'm not. So what's the question?
If our first range for our first array was a row and then the second one was a column, would it work the same way?
Oh yeah, you
Okay.
mean for the sum product?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll work the same way as long as the rows or the columns or the ranges, I guess, have the same distance. And so the reason why it works is because this range is the same as this range. But yeah, you could also do like sum product of a column and a column, but the columns have to be the same range, right? So
Okay.
you could do like this and this. Is that what you're asking? Yeah, you could do that as well. But just make sure the ranges or the areas have the same because it won't work unless they're not the same.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So is everyone doing okay here? Did we get this little expected profit for each order quantity right here? All right. So a few more things, and we're almost done here. Okay, so let's create a column chart of expected profit versus order quantity. All right, and so if you go back, okay, so first let's format the profit range to be currency again. So if you select B38 to B46, okay, over here for expected profit, and remember just do this again, Home tab, format cells, and then currency, and then you can take the decimals down to 0. and hit OK. Okay, so we're just formatting these profits just like we did up here, all right, to have the dollar sign and the comma. And, yeah. All right, and then let's make a graph or a chart of order quantity versus expected profit. So if you select this whole range, A37 to B46, right? And let's try Insert tab. Let's try recommended charts. And that's the one we want. So the one that says clustered column, you can hit OK. Okay, and so you get a chart something like this for this range. Okay, so were we able to get the chart there? Okay. Okay, and let's do a few things with the chart, and then we'll decide how many book Sam should order to finish up the problem. So let's. I'd like to give labels to the axes like we did last time. So if you click on the chart, if you click on the chart and go to chart elements, that plus sign. Remember we did this last time, but let's click on the option that says axes titles, and let's uncheck chart title and just give the axes titles. Okay, and then you can see that this area is for expected profit, and this area is for order quantity. So you can give those names to the appropriate axes. So this is expected profit. Okay, and this is order quantity.
Could you do that one more time?
Sure. Okay, so you got your chart. All right, so click on the chart, and you want to click on the plus sign or get to chart elements. Okay, oops. And then when you're here at chart elements, you want to select or check the box for axes titles and uncheck the box for chart title. All right, and then we're just going to manually call these axes titles what they are. Okay, so this one is expected profit, and this one is order quantity, right? So you can see what they refer to over here. So I'm going to call this one expected profit. Okay, so we got that, yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. All right, so one more thing for the chart, and then we can see. So see how it's a nice picture of what's going on over here. All right, so what this tells us is when we order this many books, what's our expected profit? And I like to put this, so see how the x-axis label is kind of in the middle of the chart? It looks a lot nicer if it's on the bottom. And so you can move it down, and I might have to do this a couple times, but if you can't do this, it's okay, but if you click on the x-axis, right, see, and right-click it, and choose Format Axes, all right, if you scroll down to see where it says Labels, and you should see the option, hopefully, for Label Position, and if you want, you can switch that from this to low. And what that's going to do is it makes it a little easier to see where it puts these numbers down here instead of in the middle of the chart. Okay, so did that work? Do you want me to do that again?
Yes, please.
Okay, do that one more time. All right, so this back. All right, so again, you have to click on the x-axis. All right, so you see how this is selected? Then the x-axis labels, then right-click it, and then go to Format Axes. And there's a bunch of options here over in Format Axes, but you want to scroll down to Labels, click on Labels, and then change label position to low. Okay, so once you change label position to low, it's going to move those labels down here. Okay, so all we have to do now, if we got this chart, is just confirm how many books Sam should order. Okay, so we got that. And then how many copies of this book should Sam order? Let's just show this using the conditional formatting again, and then we'll be done here. Okay, so you can probably see which order quantity gives us the highest option. It's 2,000, right? But if you had a bigger range, it might be nice to see it, to confirm it with the conditional formatting. So if you want to go over here, select B38 to B46, and under Home tab, conditional formatting. A nice option is this, top bottom rules, top 10, and then you just want the top one, the highest expected profit. So drop that down to 1 and hit OK. And so what that option is going to do is going to highlight the highest expected profit. And so you would know, or Sam would know, that 2,000, given this analysis, is the number of books he should order to achieve the highest expected profit.
Can you show how to do it one more time, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so under expected profit, select this range, B38 to B46, yeah? And then Home tab, conditional formatting,
Mm-hmm.
and then you want top bottom rules, and then you want top 10 items.
Okay.
And then once you're here, instead of top 10, you want just the top 1. And so you just hit this little arrow until it goes down to 1.
Okay, I got it.
And then hit OK. Yeah, so it's a nice thing to, especially if you have a bigger range. It'll tell you like your biggest or your smallest, but in this case, that makes sense with the chart, right? So you can see that given this analysis, and this is just expected profit, but our highest expected profit is if we order 2,000 books. So the whole point of this is that we shouldn't order 2,500, we should order 2,000.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I think that's it with this spreadsheet. We have a practice question, but we'll save that for another time because we used up all our time today. Okay, everybody good on this spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so if you're done with that, or whenever you're done with it, just go ahead and post your completed file, or you can do it now under example 2.4. So we're done with that. And so the one we did Monday, example 2.2, goes here. Most of you already turned that in. The one we just finished goes here, example 2.4. And that's it, yeah. And so I think that's going to be it for today. We'll do another example on Monday, example 2.5. But make sure you turn these two in by next Monday. And Yeah, I think that's it. So everyone have a good weekend, and I'll see you next Monday.
Thank
Hope
you,
you have a
Professor.
wonderful weekend as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Professor, I was just gonna ask, do I need all the ranges, all the names to be the same as what they were in the figure to get the full marks?
No, you don't even have to do the range names. You just have to make sure it refers to the right cells. So if it's as long as you're getting the same outcome with the formulas, it's
Okay.
fine. And you can even give them different names as long as they refer to the names when you put in the formula. So no, as long as you did the
Okay.
spreadsheet, the range names don't have to be the same.
Okay, because I think I missed some names. That's all. That's okay.
Yeah,
Everything else looks the same. So
but just make sure you're not. Just don't type in like. Make sure this is a formula. So even if that's not revenue and that's not cost, for example,
all right. Yeah.
make sure you could also do like this is just B18. I mean, sorry, B17 minus B18.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't just type in like 9,375, the range names don't have to be exact.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, Professor.
Okay.
Have a
You're
wonderful
welcome.
weekend, you too.
You too.
Professor,
Yeah.
I accidentally, so when I posted it under the 2.4, I put it as example 2.2, and I can't delete it.
Let's see. Oh, is this Tyler?
Yep.
So I see what oh, you mean just the name's wrong?
Yeah, I just posted it as example 2.2 instead of 2.4.
Oh, but it's the correct file, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. It doesn't matter.
All right, cool. For sure. Thanks, man.